Talking of football, a question. Will this man turn his Manchester United career around next season?
Sancho should never play for Manchester United again.
Jadon Sancho coming back in. It's been embraced. Of course they're going to. This fella's worth a lot of money to Manchester United.
I mean, Sancho, for me, is a big problem.
I just don't get the Jadon Sancho bringing him back, Dean. I mean, you've got no personality, mate. You can see that. And, give me a shout when he goes past somebody.
And the fact that Jadon Sancho totally disrespected the Manchester United manager is shocking.
He ain't going to start. Why ain't I starting? And then there's going to be friction again, and then there'll be another bust-up.
Been a difficult pre-season for Manchester United. They've lost 3 of their 5 pre-season games, including a 3-0 defeat to Liverpool just over 24 hours ago. Erik ten Hag revealed afterwards that Jadon Sancho could possibly play as a striker at the start of next season. Let's get more on this with the Guardian's Manchester correspondent, Jamie Jackson. Morning, Jamie.
Morning, Jamie.
Good morning.
Look, you're trying to rebuild your career. I know Erik ten Hag's got massive problems, but if you're Jadon Sancho, do you really want to be playing down the middle?
Yeah, good question. I mean, really, if you just shortened your sentence, he should really want to be playing, right?
Yeah.
For Manchester United. And wherever he's asked to play, he should want to do. And let's face it, centre forward, I don't know, for me, it's still the glamour position of football. It's sort of the storybook. When you're a kid, you want to play centre forward. I know the game's moved on and it's a lot of wide forwards now, which Jadon Sancho obviously is, but the chance to play sort of, number 9, false 9 for United, well, that's stuff of dreams, isn't it? But the real world of where we are with Jadon Sancho, I think it needs must a little bit from Ten Hag with regard to not only proposing to play him there, but also the fact he's still at the club and saying he's a good player and we need good players. I mean, Bruno Fernandes would probably be the first choice. Well, he is the first choice to play in this role, but of course he's had time off post the Euros. But if you remember towards the end of last season when they played very well, United, including the FA Cup final, that's where Fernandes sort of played. So I think with Sancho, it's a sort of, how can I say, a bit of a uneasy truce, if you like. I mean, some of the clips, or all the clips actually you played there, kind of summarise the situation. I mean, he let the manager down last season in my book, especially the season, gentlemen, in which, if you remember, Manchester United were wrecked by injuries, weren't they? So he was needed rather than sort of having to be exiled and then going to Dortmund. So it's not great. And also another of your clips there about, when he beats a player, let me know, in essence, I think the gentleman said, well, that's kind of true. So he's not a Phil Foden. Phil Foden is not someone who bursts past players, but he's so clever and so smart. You know what I mean? So when he played that wide position, he was a factor. I've got to be honest, Jadon Sancho, I've never really seen him do it for United on a consistent basis. So, yeah, it's probably about protecting the value of the player. They need to sort of sell to buy this summer, and he's, this is United, and he's sort of top of that list, maybe.
Yeah. Jamie, from what you've seen, what's that relationship like with Ten Hag and Jadon Sancho right now? How does it appear?
Yeah, I mean, it appears sort of, we've moved on. That's basically what Ten Hag has said more than once. I was in the sort of what we call the tour sit down with him at UCLA, Erik ten Hag, and it came up and he basically said what I just said, we've moved on. But, Sancho is not someone we ever really hear from at any great length for whatever reason that might be. But I would suggest, if you're Erik ten Hag, if you remember going back 2 seasons to the seasons of the World Cup, he tried to look after Jadon Sancho. He had his sort of, let's say, challenges on and off the field. He was, during the World Cup, I think it was, he went to Erik ten Hag's native Netherlands for sort of coaching. He tried to really manage and nurture and sort of, show some care, as he should do. And then for whatever reason, it kind of got thrown back in his face, with the whole Arsenal thing about not travelling to Arsenal. Sorry, him dropping him for Arsenal. This is Ten Hag, sort of September of last season. And, Sancho coming out publicly and, yeah, they fell out. So I don't really see, if you're Ten Hag, do you want that sort of, I'm not going to say issue, but sort of, person in the dressing room after all that's happened? I might be completely wrong. Jadon Sancho might come in and score a hatful of goals and he's reborn. Let's hope so. That'd be great for the player, for the club, for Ten Hag. But just the track record of the player on the field, I think it's 3 or 4 years he's been at the club now, says to me, it's not really there, to be honest.
Jill, who's a Manchester United fan, agrees with you, Jamie, as well. She says, Sancho, not for me, wrong attitude. Lucky to stay, sell in January. Look, Manchester United fans may fear the worst, and I'm sure Eric Ten Hag won't see having a Community Shield game against Manchester City as being ideal. But when you look at the side that's been playing in some of these games, a lot of the deals, De Ligt hasn't been done. Lenny Yoro's injured. They haven't got Ugarte. Lisandro Martinez only just back from the Copa America. There's no Dallo, no Shaw, no Maguire. This is doesn't resemble at all the team that Eric Ten Hag will be hoping to put out in a few weeks' time. Should it be all doom and gloom?
Well, it should be all doom and gloom, Jeff. But what you're sort of describing there actually is kind of part whatever it might be of last season's problems, which was injuries, right? I mean, it went on and on and on. 66, I think the total is, of separate injuries to players. They finished in 8th. They perhaps shouldn't have finished even, as low as that, even with all those injuries. But, I think it was a major factor. So are we at that again? I hope not. I was at the game when both Yoro and Højlund went down. It was the Arsenal game. And, the day before at UCLA in the press conference, the preview, Ten Hag had said, look, these amount of injuries could happen again. Not only to our team and squad, but to other teams and squad because of the sort of workload. And then it happened the next day. And we're sitting there in the sort of press seats, at the SoFi Stadium in Inglewood and in Los Angeles County thinking, crumbs, we can't believe this. It's just happened basically straight away. So it doesn't all go well. I'm not saying doom and gloom, but we're talking about it now because already these questions are being raised because of these injuries. It's probably or hopefully bad luck. But I don't know. He could do, he needs a fit squad or sort of, basically what you're sort of saying there, 9/10 for fit squad. And then we can see what they're really like. Yoro's out for 3 months. This is the flagship signing of the sort of Barada Omar Barada, chief executive, Sir Jim Ratcliffe era. This 18-year-old defender, the apparently gazumped Real Madrid for flagship signing. Look at the sort of new era. And sadly for everyone involved, he's out for 3 months. That's a big blow. But Ten Hag's job is to sort of rebound from this and sort of, point United in the right way. And I hope he does, because I think, he has got a chance of doing well there, but he needs players, to be fair.
Jamie, thank you. I love the expression crumbs, by the way. And just imagine every Manchester United fan seeing those players injured was thinking exactly that. Oh, crumbs. Thanks, Jamie.
Cheers.
03717 223344. United fans, do you want to see Jadon Sancho back in your starting 11? Give us a call this morning. Coming up, we turn our attention to the start of the SPL and ask... No, I'm not going to ask. I'm not.
Go on.
Is the title race over already? Oh, I did it!
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.